We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome everybody, this is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World TV show, and this is part 2 of why cooked food is better than raw food, and why I recommend it in 99% of the cases. And I'm going to be presenting a lot of advanced topics today. However, first we're going to do some beginner stuff because there's a lot of questions asked. Alright, so let's begin here. Now, when I say a whole foods diet is okay, it's key to remember not to forsake raw foods, because raw foods are great for every single diet. And a real key to dietary health is eating salads. Eating as many salads as you possibly can at every meal or whenever you possibly can. Salads are key. The lettuce almost acts as a bulletproof vest to aid the digestion of everything else. It's less damaging compared to all other foods, and salads are just key. So if you're going to eat a whole foods diet, let's say you're going to eat animal protein, it's really good to put the animal protein in a salad rather than processed starched bread or something like this. This is what we're talking about, salads all the time. And in a whole foods diet, there's many starchy foods that are gluten-free. And, such as baked potatoes, yams, brown rice, brown rice cakes, brown rice and beans, quinoa, millet, buckwheat, and the list goes on. And the one rule that I like to place is when you're going to eat a meal, if you're going to eat animal protein, don't mix it with starches. So it's either you have the salad with animal protein, or you would choose the starchy meal, such as salad and a baked potato. The two together, animal protein and starch, is a digestive disaster. And you just probably don't want to get involved in that. It's really not good for the human body. And so many people are asking, what is a whole foods diet? And many people know that me and Angela, we've studied all these diets out there today that work and that are healthy whole foods, and we've documented them on our website. And so what you could do is you could go to therawfoodworld.com/wholefoods.html, and this will have a list of probably 50 foods that you can eat. And the key is, if you could just eliminate all other foods but the whole foods are on this list, then congratulations, you did it. And God willing, most likely, you're going to end up, in the long run, degenerative disease free, not on pharmaceutical drugs, and not with walkers and canes in old age homes like the majority of elderly human beings today. This is the reason why it's key to eat healthily now. Okay, so now that we've gone over that, I'm going to introduce some advanced topics. And last time I discussed that when you improve your diet by eliminating processed foods or foods that are not that great for you completely forevermore, what happens is your body goes through withdrawals and detox. And when you go through withdrawals, you're getting this stuff out. And your body becomes cleaner on a cellular level. And when you become cleaner, your body becomes more efficient, and you require less food to maintain high energy levels. And that's why you don't need the standard American diet foods after you go through the detox and withdrawals, because you're more efficient, you require less food, and you don't need as much. And then we discussed last time that if you go back to eating those foods that you used to eat, you could get sick. And many people on a whole foods diet or a raw food diet know that if they were to eat a McDonald's hamburger, they're not going to feel well. And the longer you've been doing this, and the more withdrawals you've been going through, and the cleaner you become, the more dangerous these foods become to you, and the more sick that someone can get. For example, I've been on a raw food diet for 15 years. If I were to eat McDonald's, the repercussions I'm going to go through are ridiculous compared to someone who's been on a raw food diet for a year, or someone on a whole foods diet. But this person on the whole foods diet is going to get sick. So now we're going to take this a step further. And this is one of the major downfalls of the raw food diet. Probably the biggest, and there's a lot of pain around it that a lot of people don't know about. So what happens is, we're going to use the raw food example as an example right now. You go on a raw food diet, you go through the withdrawals, you've been doing it for a year, You've done some fasting. You've gone through a lot of detoxification. Your body's become more efficient and you require less food now. So let's say you were on the standard American diet first, you went to a raw food diet, and you don't like it. You become emotionally, it's just too much for you. So you go back to whole foods. Now when you went from standard American diet to raw food, you lost, let's say, 50 pounds. And because you require less food now, if you don't even go back as far as you used to be, you're eating a better diet than you used to, but because of how clean you are, there's a chance for many people to gain their weight back and some, and they're not even eating as poorly as they used to. It's because the body doesn't need the food anymore, doesn't know what to do with it, and it stores it in body fat. So this is another issue with raw foods. You become so clean so fast and so rapidly, it becomes dangerous to someone's emotional, mental sanity, especially with weight gain. And when you do fasting or juice fasting, I know many people who get into this raw food thing, they get excited, they're like, I'm going to do 1 million fasts. I know many women who have done like 90-day juice fasts or 30-day juice fasts or repetitive water fasts, and they go through much cleansing, they cleanse their colon like crazy, and they become so clean so fast. And then even when they do a high caloric raw food diet, they become fat because of how clean they become. And if they go to Whole Foods, their body, and then these people suffer. They're overweight, and the only way to not be overweight is to eat such a clean diet to where you have to emotionally be able to handle that thing, and you got to deal with the pressure like, oh my God, I don't want to eat this. It could be a mess. I mean, there are techniques someone could do to increase their metabolism, such as sprinting really fast, like not like long, like exercise where you build up. You just sprint real fast, you stop. You sprint real fast, you stop. And if you could like dedicate your life to doing this like crazy amounts, it's a possibility. But it's the diet aspect of what your cellular metamorphosis that you go through is so intense that it's unlikely you can get around something like this. So this is why it's good to take it slowly so you can handle it emotionally, if this makes sense. Okay, furthermore, let's talk about degenerative disease. A raw foodist, if they can't handle their current diet, could be more at risk for disease. And let me explain what's going on here. Many people in the world today on the standard American diets are coming down with things like cancer and other degenerative diseases. And why is this? It's because they've built up so much toxicity in the body from eating poorly that there's so much gas in their bodies. Their stomachs are out to here. It's like a balloon. That's not solid feces. It's like a round balloon. There'd be crevices in there if there wasn't. And oxygen can get locked out of certain areas of the body, which causes inflammation. Dr. Otto Warburg actually won the Nobel Peace Prize in the early 1900s for stating that cancer thrives in an anaerobic place without oxygen. So when they become so big and oxygen can't get through, inflammation occurs, and that's like the source of many degenerative diseases. So this is why a lot of people on the standard American diet have this type of issue. And this is why colon hydrotherapy is so great, because you remove all that gas and waste. Nothing removes gas better than that, and you're flooded with oxygen. So what happens is when you improve your diet, you metamorphose, especially when you're on a raw food diet, to very clean. So now your body requires less food. This is very difficult to explain. There's science behind it, and it's in my book, Raw Success. So now your body requires less food, and less will toxify the body, less gas, less carbon dioxide is produced through digestion, less will make blockages so oxygen can't get to cells, because there's less space in your body now on a cellular level. I know this is difficult to understand, but the science is all in my book, and in the benefits program we talk about this. So it's kind of like you would get sick eating these foods, but on the standard American diet, if people wouldn't get sick eating McDonald's. But they've done it so much, they've blocked, so now you're clean, less can block you if you go in that direction. So this is why it's key to be consistent, and this is why some raw food eaters can come down with cancer and stuff like this. So these are, I'm not trying to scare people away from the raw food diet, but because I'm on it and I love it, but I know that I'm kind of stuck here. choosing a diet, it's like choosing a spouse. You got to live with it for the rest of your life, or you're going to deal with the repercussions. If you do it for, I'm not saying if you do a raw food diet for a month or two, but if you're doing this and you're going hardcore cleansing, this is when it gets dangerous. And even on a whole foods diet, if you do this for 3 years, and then you go back to the standard American diet, you're in more danger for all these things that we've discussed. Okay, so the next advanced raw food topic of why it might be better to eat whole foods rather than raw food. Now here's another concept I'm going to share with you. I'm not going to get into the science because we're just going facts here. We'll be here forever. When you improve your diet and you start to go through the detox and withdrawals, when you're done with the detox and withdrawals, you stabilize out. Now detox is always happening. Our body's always cleaning out, but you've gotten the majority of all the previous foods you've been eating for the last decades. That could take many years. And during that process of detoxification, what happens is you become younger. You regenerate. As you detox, your cells unload waste. This is what detoxification is. And as they tighten up, you become younger. You regenerate. This is what's happening. So when you go on a whole foods diet, it could take many, many years to cleanse all that out. And you're going to become younger for many, many years. Now check this out. When you go on a raw food diet, the cleansing is more rapid. You cleanse more, faster, probably 10 times more, especially if you're colon cleansing or if you're doing fasting during this process, ridiculous amounts. So someone who goes on a standard American diet from raw to raw foods, I did this like at 24, I metamorphosed into like this 15-year-old boy, it seemed like. So you become younger so rapidly, you metamorphose, you become so young, it's ridiculous. But you go through the detox, you detox a lot more faster, so check this out. After the detoxification process happens and you stabilize out, what happens is you begin to age again, but at a slower pace because you're putting less damaging foods into your body. There's so many things that have to do with aging, but if we're only talking about diet here, this is what we're getting into. So the person on the raw food diet who went from standard American diet to raw food diet, and let's say they're colon cleansing, they're going crazy, in 3 years they can just go through this major metamorphosis of becoming younger and just reach this new plateau. And then in this after 3 years, they start to age again at a slower pace if they continue on this stabilized diet. And if they go back to eating foods that are not good for them, they're going to age faster. And that's the danger. So now on the whole foods diet, you detox slower. So the detoxification process is longer, and the becoming younger process is younger. And this is a strategy to where you could live longer on a whole foods diet. So on a raw food diet, you could cleanse it all out, everything in 3 years and you're done. On a whole foods diet, it might take 10 years, 15 years to stabilize out here. And then if you wanted to, after you've stabilized out and you start aging at a slower rate, you could then go into raw food and start the detoxification process again and the becoming younger process again. So here you have the raw food eater has become so young, so fast, and then they start to age after 3 years really slowly, while the standard American diet person who's on the whole foods diet is still becoming younger slowly. And then as the years go by, there's like a meeting, and in the long run, everyone's dying at the same age. There's many other factors, I understand this, but this is just a concept to bring forth to you. Okay, so next, I wanted to share a comment on the last video we did about this topic that someone wrote. And they said, Matt, I see your point, but on the other hand, it almost seems like you're talking us out of a raw food diet. I'm not talking you out of a raw food diet. I love the raw food diet, and it could be very beneficial. I'm just telling you about the dangers. Love you and respect your opinion, but when I try whole foods again, I fell apart, gained weight, stopped astral traveling, lost energy, inflammation, pain came back. I'm slowly returning to 100% raw. What happened here, guys? It's not that a whole foods diet is bad. It's that she messed around with raw foods, probably some fasting, metamorphosed, cleaned out, and then went backwards to where whole foods gave her less energy. She gained weight, like we were just talking about. She stopped spiritual astral traveling, lost energy, inflammation came back, and all this pain came back. Now, if she would have just never went to Raw Foods and went straight to Whole Foods, where she's at now, and just stayed there, she wouldn't be, most likely wouldn't be experiencing these issues. Do you see where we're going with this? So that's why the Raw Foods diet was bad for this woman when she thinks it was good. And now she's trying really hard and she could barely make it, and she's gained all this weight eating better than she used to. And what I appreciate about this comment, she disagreed with me, which is fine, and I love it. And there were many raw food eaters who got very upset with my last video. And people are thinking I try to like sway the comments to where, oh, I want my view and viewpoint to be known. But that's not the case. What's happening is people disagree, they say their stuff, and then they attack me. As it, like, you should hear the things. And so I delete these comments. And this is what I'm talking about, where some, not all raw food eaters, but there's a little bit of mentally deranged aspect going on there. It's almost like they think that their way is the only way. You can't have spiritual growth without it, which is completely false. And they're so stuck, they're locked, they don't even realize they're not experiencing spiritual growth, but probably going downwards. And they attack people. Like myself, I'm dealing with this all the time. This is not a sane person in my aspect. And I'm not saying all raw food eaters are there. Most raw food eaters are like, wow, that's cool that, you know, he can help other people. Do you know how many comments? There are probably only 20 dislikes and like 350 likes on this video. And the feedback I'm getting, there was this one woman who came up to me, and she eats a high raw diet and eats whole foods every once in a while. And every time she, you know, has like a warm soup or something, she would feel guilty. Oh, I should have done a salad or something like this. And then she realized after seeing this video, she was like, hey, I eat a whole foods diet. This is good. In the long run, I'm probably, God willing, not going to be on pharmaceutical drugs. I'm not going to have diseases. I'm not going to be bound to a walker. And I got many, many people. It's almost like the stress just went, and I'm excited. I'm actually happy that some of these people personally attacked me, because I was almost embarrassed for them with their comments. Calling people sheeple when they don't even realize what that term means, and they're probably that or something. I don't know what they're thinking. And it's like, I'm done there. And here I am, and I'm going to put note to this. They're doing it to me, and I'm actually being a little immature and doing it back. But I'm just trying to... I should have left it out. I don't want to stoop down to that. Okay, everybody. So, I love the raw food diet. I'm going to be on it for the rest of my life. I can strongly sense this. I'm kind of stuck here because I know the repercussions if I go the other way. And I'm hoping that people can understand these concepts, and, you know, if they understand that if you can do a raw food diet, great. You're empowered and do it. But if you're unsure and you know that this might be happening, please understand what the dangers here. Okay, this is Matt Monarch, and we'll see you next time at the Raw Food World TV show.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.